What are your thoughts about, any lost opportunities, and what would you, not individually, but as a company, what do you think Yahoo could have done differently during that time to result in a
actually
different trajectory?
So it's always, I'll say this, hindsight is 20/20.
Always.
Right. But here are some things that I would say are important to pay attention to in terms of lessons to entrepreneurs.
Sure.
In that period of time, Yahoo, if you recall, and I have a Google story that I'll tell you later, but a search on Yahoo was making about 1/6 the money that a search on Google was making, right?
Wow.
And that's a revenue per search, the RPS. That's one of the key metrics we look at.
RPS.
RPS, yes. And we invested a whole effort that initially was bungled and then later got done right through the leadership of Chi Lu, actually, and others. And
He's
Zad,
at Microsoft now.
Right, now he's at Microsoft. And Zad Nazem, who was the CTO, he actually stepped in personally and really delivered. Before he retired, he actually delivered Panama correctly.
And Zad is another personal hero of mine.
Yes, I love Zad, by the way.
Awesome.
And I've learned a lot from that man.
Absolutely.
The lesson is this. After we did Panama, which is the rewriting of the monetization engine for search, which was done at Overture before, and we had to rewrite it to be modern and to fix these problems that caused this gap. We had a bunch of efforts called CTG, or Close the Gap. Right? That was our code for them. We had about between 8 and 13 code development projects. They would take about 6 to 9 months.
So close the gap in the RPS.
In the RPS, and that would have resulted in an incremental 800 million in revenue for Yahoo for that year. As you can tell, because the cost is fixed, 800 million flows right to the bottom line.
Sure.
Right? Now, the company at the time was going through debates of, shall we become an ad network? Shall we become a ad exchange? Right? I was on the camp that said, ad exchange is the wrong thing for Yahoo to do, primarily for 2 reasons. Because Yahoo is a big publisher itself, so it's a competitor. So how could it run an exchange? Can we expect Google to put its inventory on Yahoo or Microsoft? The other one was that exchanges, as we all know, publishers will never put their premium inventory on exchanges. They only put their crap inventory. So to me, an outlet of crap inventory is not necessarily a very interesting thing.
Right.
But at the time, through a debate between the execs, it was decided that of the 7 priorities of the company, CTG, or Close the Gap, fell from number 2, which is where I thought it should be. Number 1 being what we call business up, site up, meaning the site is up. You have to have the site being up, right? It fell to number 7.
7?
Right, with ad networks and exchange taking up, number 1 and 2 and 3.
Wow.
So to me, that bypassing of 800 million revenue of extra cash in your hands. Now, at the time, look, you cannot, like I said, 20/20 hindsight.
Sure.
At the time, people were very worried that we would lose the opportunity to take the leadership in an ad network and in an ad exchange, right? And they valued that much more than immediate cash. Now, me being the pragmatic startup scruffy guy, I wanted the cash. Right?
You were
give
the
me the cash in the bank,
within the system.
Give me the cash, and then later let me fight my war, right? Now, I claim, and this is my explanation, this is not, that once we missed that 800 million in additional revenue, stock goes down, Mr. Ballmer shows up, bad offers, cycle, and expectations of the street go down, and it was really a very bad spiral that the company got.
So those 6 letters, CTG,
3 letters
of RPS.
RPS, yes.
So 6 letters. So the CTG RPS is symbolic of a huge lost opportunity, and the lesson I take away from it is that you were the entrepreneur within the organization that saw that opportunity. It was a very obvious opportunity, and when it dropped from 2 to 7, and I'm sure you lost hope, right, or faith in the organization. That's a fascinating story.
And that was the first time I tried to resign. Jerry talked me out of it at the time and said, "Look, work with us on coming up with a new company strategy." I did, but then when we came up with a new strategy, which was inspiring, by the way, and we had an amazing event where we rolled out the new strategy to the company, and I was reborn as a believer. This was summer of 2007. That look, we now have a new path. Steve Jobs came in as sort of privately as the keynote speaker of that event and shared with us how he turned around Apple. It was an amazing event. The problem is we did not execute. We came up with a beautiful plan, and there was no execution because the company had gone through so much turmoil.
Vision without execution is insanity, right?
And unfortunately, then Jerry lost his position, and we could not execute on that plan.
Absolutely.